What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba Howard Bender. Welcome into the Bettor Sports Betting Show here. I'm filling in for Dan Servideo. Howard's here every Friday, so you're used to seeing him. You see me on Tuesdays, but I was doing the show yesterday with James Grande. We had an NBA takeover on Thursday. Today, we're going to talk a little NFL Week 9 here, Bender.
How did your NBA takeover go yesterday?
We did pretty well. We hit some nice props. Yeah, we had a good show.
What was the best prop you guys hit yesterday?
Oh, man. Do we have too many to think of here, Howard?
Too many to think of.
Trying to remember off the top of my head where we went. The Wembayama points total we hit the over on. He had a career high in points last night. We took the over. I think it was 19 and a half points. That was a good one.
Didn't he struggle the game before that? And he have like 5 turnovers and was just
got off to a slow start the game before that, but dominated in the second half against Phoenix. They ran it back against Phoenix last night, and from the jump, Victor Wembanyama asserted himself in that game.
When I realized that I was doing the show with you, I actually thought we were going to do like a little splash of NBA. I know Servo likes to keep it all football only here. Probably more for my sake than anything else, or maybe maybe Servo doesn't even want to talk NBA. So if you've got an NBA bet,
if you want,
prop that you're thinking about,
yeah, let me kick it off. I'll just start the show. I threw 3 props into our Discord this morning that I'm on, and at last check, they're all still there. So we'll go a little off the cuff here for those of you who are tuning in looking for some NBA props here tonight. But I got 3 for you. Ben Simmons over 6.5 assists here this evening. Guy has been an assist machine for the Brooklyn Nets now that he is healthy. He's looking like his old self. He's basically been doubling in rebounds and assists to start the year. He still can't score, but that's fine. They don't need him to score. They have other guys that can do that. They got Chicago Bulls here on tap tonight. Liking Ben Simmons more over the 6.5 assists here. I like Chet Holmgren tonight more than the 15.5 points for him this evening. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing tonight for the Thunder. They have the Golden State Warriors here tonight in Oklahoma City. Last year, Golden State really struggled on the road. They ended up finding themselves playing a lot of competitive games on the road last year. OKC's come out playing like one of the best teams in that West, a young team that's looking to really surprise some people. And Chet Holmgren was supposed to have his rookie season last year, got hurt having his rookie season this year, but had the benefit of basically redshirting last year. So he's not truly a rookie in the sense of like understanding the NBA life, the experience to work through. So not really having any of the initial growing pains that some of these rookies come through with. So I like him over the 15.5 points tonight. Then my last play here, DeAndre Ayton higher, over higher, however you want to do it, the 10.5 rebounds. Gone over this total in all but one game this year. The one game he didn't go over the 10.5 totals, he had 9 rebounds in 23 minutes. So low number for him going up against the Memphis Grizzlies here tonight, a team that plays this is a pretty undersized front court. Xavier Tillman's their center. He's like 6'7". Jaren Jackson's out there like 6'8". So you have DeAndre Ayton as the main center for Portland, just gobbling up all the rebounds. I like going over to the 10.5 there tonight.
Fantastic. All right. Well, there you go. See, nice little spicy NBA start to the Friday show. I love it. James Grande in the chat. Longtime listener, first time caller. Here for Howard's NBA props, not John. So sorry, John. He wants me to say I have no idea. Is Giannis playing tonight?
Yes.
Take the over.
Take the over what?
Whatever.
Britt says, don't know NBA. That's why I'm here. Well, you know what, Britt? You've been putting out some absolute fire NFL props on the Britt's Fantasy Blitz show. So hopefully everybody is tuning into that and just making loads of money. Man, she has been a lot of success for Britt in the prop game here. A lot of us at Fantasy Alarm. Coop's having great. We went 2 for 3 on yesterday's Alarm Fantasy Football show. 2-0-1 rather. We pushed TJ Watt's solo tackles prop. He only managed to get 2, but we hit the over on the Deontay Johnson yards, which you had, Howard, and I had Will Levis getting sacked more than 2.5 times. That cashed in like the second quarter. The Steelers were all over him. So those are some football props we've been hitting. Let's look at some football spreads and props that were on for week 9. How's that sound?
That sounds fine by me. By the way, I had last night's game. I had the under, and I had the Steelers covering the spread. I had suggested the alt line, but nevertheless, I also Chigakonkwo hit his receiving yards over on that prop in the final drive of the game.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. I was all in on Deontay Johnson. Not only did I say I would use him as my captain's play in DFS, but I had over 57.5 yards for him. I was wrong on Najee. And you know what? As a fantasy owner of Najee, I'm okay being wrong on that prop.
Right.
It was really good to see him not only have a good game, but back-to-back.
Both running backs success. Jalen Warren had a nice night as well. So yeah, if that offense can be a bit more dynamic, all the better for for fantasy managers. George Pickens, not too much. Not one good. Catch, -2 yards, I think he was at, or 2 catches for -1 yard, whatever it was.
Something like
not that. Great. Not
Dude,
great.
And Britt's like, I almost nailed the exact score. She did, right? She said it was going to be 23-20. So had Will Levis gone down. And I said to her last night when we were talking about this, because we were texting back and forth during the game, as it was the final drive for Tennessee, I said, the only way that I will readily submit my Steelers covering and the under is if Will Levis throws a 35-yard touchdown pass to Chigakonkwo, which would have put my prop up, and I would have felt great about that. And then she would have had, the exact score, the 23-20. Instead, Howard was right on that. So yes, I would very much like to take the momentum from last night's game, push that in towards week 9. And you know what? I'm going to start it off, John, with the sauerkraut and the schnitzel and the Bavarian style pretzel and the brats that I'm going to be grilling up at 3:00 in the morning here as I watch the Miami Dolphins with that 1.5 take care of business against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be a fun game to watch and wake up to. I'll be live with Britt during this game on the Sunday morning 9 a.m. stream. So we'll get to watch that and have some fun with everybody there. And in the BettorCast app, we'll be talking BettorCast app as well during that game because we'll have the BettorCast for that 9:30 a.m. kickoff. But, I mean, maybe the best game on the slate. I agree with you, though. I think Dolphins and that offense is going to be a little bit too much. And who knows? Is Patrick Mahomes fully over his illness? Can Travis Kelce perform when Taylor Swift isn't by his side? We don't know, right? So far, the answer's been no. When Taylor Swift isn't there, Travis Kelce isn't performing on the field. So, there's definitely some correlation there. I like the Dolphins getting the 1.5 here as well because they're not really road team here. It's a neutral site.
There's no road team, but I mean that's kind of the whole thing. And this whole narrative that we're hearing right now is that the Dolphins haven't beat a team with a 500 or better record since week 3 or week 2 or week 3 of last year. And while that might be a very true statement, I mean, to me, it doesn't correlate here with Mike McDaniel and the style of offense they run, the firepower that they do have. Sprinkle a little Tyreek Hill revenge game narrative here. I mean, I think it all kind of, to me, it says Dolphins. And you know what? I mean, I'm betting the Dolphins to win the game. I'm taking the money line as well, because if I'm going to take Dolphins plus a 1.5, I might as well. I'm saying they're going to win this game anyway.
Right.
So
agreed. Boom. Britt's saying that he declined to comment whether or not Taylor Swift is actually making the trip. If Taylor Swift shows up in Germany for a Sunday morning game here, that will be something to watch there.
Incredibly impressive.
Yeah. And I guess we'd have to assume the relationship's real, right? If she's willing to go cross continents here for Travis.
It's real. It's definitely real. But I mean, we've got to understand that Taylor's got her own life. She's got her own thing. She's got an international tour starting up.
I know.
In a couple of weeks here. So
I'm going to have you ask Shan today on the show. I'll listen in and see what she thinks about Taylor maybe traveling to Germany for Travis here. My first play here, I'm going to go Falcons -3.5. Again, Atlanta in their matchup here, running up against a rookie quarterback. I think that defense is certainly good enough. I like that they're home. I like the switch to Taylor Heineke at quarterback as well over Desmond Ridder, maybe giving a little bit more boost to their offense. I understand Drake London's not active for that game, but still, I think they can control this one enough to take the -3.5 here.
I'm staying away from the Falcons because I've kind of been misreading them the last couple of weeks, and which is probably why I'm so angry with Arthur Smith. I love their defense, one of the things I kind of think about though is that defense really, does it seem ferocious to you? Does it seem like they've kind of been getting beaten on the passing game a little bit more lately than kind of what we were expecting? So I do kind of worry about the Falcons. Now, you're right. Jaron Allen is, Jared, I keep wanting to call him Jared Allen, Jared Hall. He's there. But I just saw something also that said that Joshua Dobbs is going to be active as the backup quarterback. And there are no passing props at all for, like, as soon as I saw Dobbs was active, I immediately went looking for the passing attempts prop for
take the under on
for Hall, just so I could take the under on that and see where it was at. Like, there's some other stuff like we'll talk about with the player props, but you mentioned something just before about Drake London, and I've got a prop that I immediately went to as soon as that information happened. It's kind of what you guys need to do, but nevertheless, what's that?
What's your next prop? What's your
next play here? I'm taking the Ravens -6. I know you and I talked about this on the DFS show. I'm definitely more bullish on the Ravens against Seattle than you are, and you're definitely more bullish on Seattle's defense than I am. So I know we're a little at odds here, but I'm buying into Lamar Jackson. I'm not going to sit there and sweat what I saw in that game against Arizona, because I know that his receivers were getting jacked up, and it was a difference maker. It's definitely a difference maker. I'd be surprised to see the Seahawks go to some sort of a man coverage situation. I think they're comfortable with the zone, and acquiring Leonard Williams has allowed them to think more about coverage than anything. But if you're not blitzing and that line does hold up against your front seven, well, then, all of a sudden Lamar's going to be sitting there with way too much time on his hands. I say it's a big rebound here for that Todd Monken offense. So I'm taking the Raiders, and I'm laying the Ravens, and I'm laying the points.
I like it. I'm not going to really sit here and argue too much with you. The one thing I worried a little bit was just sort of the improvements I think that Seattle defense is starting to show with some of the playmakers that they definitely have there. Pete Carroll knows how to build a defense. He built one of the best defenses of the 2000s there with the Legion of Boom. They got old, they left, they wrote down, taking a little bit, but he's slowly sort of reformulating and drafting well and getting the right pieces back in place there for that team. That was where my initial concerns could be here, but as you pointed out also, their offense really hasn't kick-started much at all. Gino's taken that step back that I was worried about. Kenneth Walker maybe getting worn down with the amount of work that he's gotten, to the point where Zach Charbonnet saw more snaps last week. So I'm fine with doing that one. I'll do a sort of a correlated play, and this is a correlated play with you where I think there's actually a historical trend where one of us has to be wrong on this one. I'm going to go the Browns -9.5. If I remember correctly, when there's a point total as low as it is, it's at 37.5, and there's a spread as high as it is, generally the team getting the points will end up covering this game. We'll see if that ends up being the way. But I like the Browns here because their defense is super strong. I like them at home. Deshaun Watson being back, I think, could still give them a little bit more of a better chance than we've seen PJ Walker run that offense lately. I think the ground game for Cleveland is still strong, whether it be Kareem Hunt. And as much as I don't like Jerome Ford, he continued to point out he is a big play guy. So it only takes one or two runs for him to make an impact here. And if it is Clayton Tune starting at quarterback, or even if it is Kyler Murray making his debut here, I think Arizona may not do too much offensively to where maybe this is a 17-0 Browns win or something like that here. So give me the Browns -9.5.
Yeah, I had it kind of as like a 28-3 sort of a situation. So yeah, I mean, it does work where, if the Browns are, the Browns favored by 9.5, it's going one of two ways, like based on the over-under being so low at 37.5. It's going one of two ways. Either the Browns are just going to completely shut down Arizona, right? Or it's going to be like a 14-0 kind of garbage game that nobody wants to see. But meanwhile, yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the under 37.5 on this one. I agree with you with the Browns. I kind of feel like Miles Garrett, like when I picture this game going on, and whether it's Kyler Murray or Clayton Tune is irrelevant. I just picture like Miles Garrett, like holding somebody's leg, one of the quarterback's legs, like a Thanksgiving, turkey leg kind of thing,
Right.
and just chewing on that thigh and just eating for the entire way. So
Trying to see if on the fly I can find a line for no touchdowns for Arizona.
It's a legit D. It is a legit
I know.
D. So
Chef saying the Browns get a defensive touchdown. I'd be willing to bet that. Someone in the chat, if you Brett or Grande, let me see if you can find a line for no touchdowns.
Find a line for no touchdowns, and find a line for what the Browns' defensive touchdown is.
Yeah, I'm
curious. That's an interesting prop.
Curious to see what that would end up paying out here. My next play here, going Packers -3. Again, Rams may be without Stafford in this game here. So if you got a backup quarterback going into Green Bay on the road, don't really care too much for that. Again, Green Bay actually has a pretty decent defense in its own right here. Now, Jordan Love is obviously the big question. He's not been very lovely. So if we can get him to perform adequately enough here at Watson and Dubs in the running game there with Jones and Dillon here, I think they can cover the 3-point home spread.
Yeah, I was looking as soon as I saw this this note about it being ready to unleash Aaron Jones or whatever the phrase was that LaFleur used. That definitely excited me about it as well. I think it's a great matchup. And I think that Green Bay can, easily win this game and just do it on the ground and not even have to worry about Love. You'll still, Dobbs, Watson, whatever, these guys will still get their work. But I think there should probably, based off of the struggles, this is why I think LaFleur is like, all right, now we can't screw around anymore. So I dig that. Another play for me. I'm taking the Raiders -1.5. I had this posted in here. I don't remember the exact numbers at this point, but here you go. So teams that have fired their coaches mid-season. This report came out last year in October when everybody was like talking about the hot seat and somebody was about to get canned. 32 teams have fired their coaches mid-season since 2003. They go 15-17 straight up, 17-15 against the spread. But like, while those numbers aren't, eye-popping by any means, straight up, those teams had a 26% winning percentage. So going 15-17 is humongous. Like it's doubling right there. And then against the spread, those teams that went then 17-15 in that first game afterwards, they had like a 36% winning percentage against the spread before that. So again, another humongous, jump up in there. So that's the trend. I'm going with it. I will let it be my friend. Raiders -1.5. It's what happens when they get rid of the coaching staff. The team is either like, if they like the coach, they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it for him. And if they don't like the coach, they're like, oh, see, watch how much better we play without him. Great job. So there it is. And the poor sad sack Giants. I mean, listen, that means no nookie from my wife on Sunday. I'll sacrifice it for the bet.
Amen. My last play here, Saints -8.5. Again, going at home against Chicago here. A lot of people are in on the Saints this week. The offense is starting to look a little bit better. 3 straight games over 300 yards for Derek Carr. And I think the Saints defense is really good, honestly. And now they're going to be going up against Chicago. We're assuming it's not going to be Fields, right? He's not officially ruled out yet, I don't think. But Bagent, I call him Bagent, has not proven not really to be an NFL caliber quarterback, despite the fact that they beat the Raiders a few weeks ago. I think the Saints take this one here, given the 8.5.
All favorites, Johnny. You're on the favorite train today.
I'm a chalk guy. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love the Saints. Absolutely. I mean, this matchup against Chicago, I don't think Montez Sweat is the answer to all of Chicago's defensive issues.
I love that they traded for Montez Sweat, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sign here." So,
well, you know what though? Like, I respect him for actually saying that. You know who should have said that? Devontae Adams.
Right.
Devontae Adams, like, instead of just being like, "Oh, okay, I'm good to meet you, Mr. McDaniels. Thank you very much. You're going to be my coach. I'll sign a 5-year deal here right now." Like, maybe take it for a spin first.
Right.
Don't just,
I said right away, too, McDaniels had a great trend, a history of turning his good players against him. Brandon Marshall had the, obviously, incident there in Denver back in the day where he, like, punted a football and told them to go, like, F himself as he was walking off of a field. Josh Jacobs immediately seemingly had issues with him. Devontae Adams hates him. He drove out Derek Carr. I mean, McDaniels went in there trying to, like, I'm the man now, and once again, didn't last 2 years as a head coach with one team. So he'll be back in New England as an advisor, getting paid by the Raiders for the next 5 years. So.
Oh, time to start betting on those Patriots now. Yeah. Here we go.
And back together.
Some good picks, solid picks. Oh, beautiful. You guys will see these. We'll put these in the betting article this week. Jimmy Fingers 19 in the chat. Howard, just a word of thanks. You advised me to go with Deontay Johnson in my captaincy last night. I am $1,000 richer today. Boom. Jimmy Fingers. I love that, man. That's great. That's such a nice hit. Yeah, I was like, I was definitely in on Deontay. And we were talking about it. His first touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger was
We talked about that on the show last night with me and Grande when we did the props for that one. I was like, I saw her tweet that he hadn't caught a touchdown pass since Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback like 2 years ago. So got the over there. I had him as my captain play last night too, but I unfortunately the dreaded showdown slate got me there. I missed cashing by 0.1, Howard. 0.1. Had George Pickens let me down. If I went Burks over Okonkwo, probably would have had the over there as well, but didn't expect old Georgie to have the negative receiving yards on the day. So that one, big sad.
If it makes you feel better in my showdown lineup, even with Deontay Johnson in there, I 3x'd my entry fee. That was about it.
I made it back in the NBA. Speaking of someone who's $1,000 richer, James Grande, shout out to you, my friend. Nearly taking down the $40 single last night in the NBA DFS world there. So good run of NBA DFS success here over at Fantasy Slam so far. Continuing that here tonight. Howard, before we get into our NFL Week 2 player prop plays, I do want to give a shout out to the BettorCast app. Gamifying Sunday Night Football on the BettorCast app. Compete in our free contest by answering pregame questions about the Bills-Bengals game on Sunday in that BettorCast app. Then test your knowledge by predicting what will happen in real time. No purchase necessary. Always free to play. Win tickets, NFL signed gear, and collectibles with authentic Fanatics, I think it is, that they're giving away there. So download the free BettorCast app in the Apple and Google Play stores. Must be 18 years of old or age of older to play. Scan the QR code there on the screen. Download the BettorCast app. I'm in there in the chat. Bender's in the chat. Coop's in the chat. Britt gets in there in the chat. We all have fun Sunday night hanging out in the BettorCast app. So check it out.
Monday night, Jets, Monday Night Football. I'm taking it over. It's the BenderCast on Monday Night Football. The BenderCast, Monday Night Football. I'm doing a full hour-long pregame show. I got some special guests helping breaking down that game. I'll be in the chat throughout the entire time of the game, and I'm going to go live at various points with this game. It's probably all just so that you can see me go, shit, these guys suck. But nevertheless, you get to see me go, shit, these guys suck.
I was trying to find the the cover image for you there, Howard. I couldn't pull it up in time. The 3D version of you,
The 3D version of me is not good.
The tunified version of Howard.
I was
Bender.
like, but please change that image back. That was
Pixar
terrible.
designed that cover. Howard was on there. All right, let's get to our Sunday NFL Week 9 player props. Kick us off here, Howard.
I looked like the guy from Up, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Pixar created your avatar there.
So bad. All right, player props. Here we go. Do they, could they, should they, will they unleash Jonathan Taylor? Will Zach Moss continue to eat into his workload in this matchup? I don't think it really matters. To be perfectly honest, I feel like both running backs should have ample opportunities to eat against the Carolina Panthers. We know that you run on the Panthers. Forget about what the Texans were doing or not doing last week against them. Focus on the fact that the Colts have Jonathan Taylor, who looked great last game. Zach Moss looks really good as a complimentary back. So give me Jonathan Taylor over 65.5 rushing yards in this game. It's minus 120 at BetMGM. That sounds yummy delish to me.
That is a great line. I would go hammer that line right now, honestly. I think he's gone over that in 2 straight games anyways, as it is. And now it's 95 and 75 yards in each of the last 2 games since his workload has really kicked up. He's had some big plays. He had a 42-yard run last week. And again, everybody kind of hammered Steichen there on the usage of Taylor in the second half, 1 carry. I'm expecting a lot more Jonathan Taylor here. Love that call. Before I give you mine, Britt found the props we were looking for here. For Arizona not to score a touchdown, it's only plus 330, which feels like Vegas is like, there's a good chance Arizona isn't scoring a touchdown here. Cleveland is plus 1,500 to not score a touchdown. So, and no touchdowns in the game is plus 5,500. So I don't know if we're going to see no touchdowns, but you're only getting like 3-1 on your money at Arizona not to score a touchdown. I don't even know if it's worth it at that point. So I don't know.
You know what? I mean, I would sprinkle a little something on it. Maybe just throw a half unit, just on plus 330. I mean, you might as well.
Yeah, I guess
especially considering how bad they actually are. But of course, as soon as they do that, then Kyler Murray is going to be named the starter.
Yeah, that's the degenerate in me, Howard. I don't get out of bed for anything that's 5-1. So 3-1. I just who needs to triple your money? I mean, yeah. What is this 3x you speak of? So that's a personal problem I'm working through. Yeah, I had that happen the other day. It was a live bet on an NBA game, and I was going to live bet, and it was like plus like 600, and then they scored, and it got dropped down to like plus 270. I just didn't make the bet. I was like talking to my buddy. He's like, I didn't end up doing it. Dropped down to plus 270, and ended up coming back and winning. He's like, oh, what, the 2.5 to 1 wasn't good enough for you? I was like, yeah, I don't know. I have a problem. Once I saw that I could have had 7x, and it went down to 2.5. I just said no, thank you.
It's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, just not worth it anymore. Yeah, so that's a me thing. We're gonna go over AJ Brown here. I couldn't find his yardage on BetMGM. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong spots. I went with his receptions here. It's at 5.5. I know other books have his yardage at like 82.5. I would take the over on both. Take the over on the receptions here. Take the over on the yards. 130 plus yards, 125 plus yards now in 6 straight weeks. The targets are definitely going to be there. Highest scoring game on the board. It for me just feels pretty easy. Now minus 160. It's not the best pay there, but still a prop that I'm very much interested in. Maybe you find yourself with boosted odds somewhere. You can get a little bit better payday on this prop, but I do like the AJ Brown over the 5.5 here.
All right, I'm gonna go with with the bet it now kind of a thing, because I wanted to see if the line had moved, and it has moved, which moved into a more interesting spot here. What was plus 140 is now plus 145. Van Jefferson over 2.5 receptions. So yes, he's the new guy in Atlanta, but there is no Drake London. And so where are you going as far as your receiving game goes? You're not going to always throw it to Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to have to throw it to other receivers. I don't mind Mac Hollins, but Mac Hollins like a 1 or a 2 catch guy. So Van Jefferson is going to end up getting some additional work. He's going to get some additional looks. So over 2.5 receptions for me, I'm going to take that at plus 145 at BetMGM. And I would suggest betting it now, because I'll bet you as soon as like people start talking some more over the next couple of days, enough people are going to start to like, hit that over mark, and then they're going to start bumping that up in a little bit. So I would bet that one right now.
71% of the offensive snaps last week for Van Jefferson. Definitely correlates with Drake London's injury there, because he got all the work basically after London left that game. Now London's out. And we talked about that on the DFS show. Van Jefferson may be one of the better value plays on a slate that rather sucks for DFS this week. I think Van Jefferson, great bet, great call out. Getting plus money on that right now, that's super nice. I'm going to go back to that Dallas Philly game here. And more chalk plays. CeeDee Lamb, 5.5 receptions. Again, I think this is going to be a shootout. I know that the Eagles are improving their secondary, but even with Byard and Slay and Bradbury, they're still just getting torched. Dotson last week, McLaurin last week. Like, teams are just throwing all over them. Doesn't really matter who's in their secondary here. So give me the CeeDee Lamb over 5.5 receptions here, minus 145.
I mean, we're hoping that game just that really pops. I mean, you want it to so badly, right? I mean, there's like the Miami, the Miami Kansas City game. There's Dallas Philadelphia, and then there's Buffalo Cincinnati, and the rest of the slate is crap, absolute crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jimmy Fingers. No, I don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back. I was super excited. I bet the Jets to win it all. Of course I did when Aaron Rodgers signed with them. But yeah, I didn't bet it crazy. I didn't put a ton on him. Jimmy put a ton on him. I didn't put a ton on him. I just, sprinkle a little something on there just as a fan. But I don't see Aaron Rodgers making that way back. All right, next one here. Geno Smith, over half an interception. Yes, Geno's going to throw a pick. Ravens have like 8 picks on the season right now. Which is probably like 5th or 6th in the NFL. Home game for the defense. Geno's going to be throwing. Geno sucks. Geno's the kind of guy you want to just punch in the face. So he's throwing a pick, minus 115.
Sure. I know you're not a big fan of him. Got the road game in Baltimore. I'll tail that one. My last player prop here, Chris Olave over 4.5 catches at minus 145. The man's getting double-digit targets almost every single week. Home against Chicago. Bad secondary. Chalk play for me. They'll take some shots here with Olave this weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. I've got him, pegged for some DFS work. So all in on those receptions props. I like it. Who's getting the love? Who's getting the attention? I'll tell you who's getting the love. Now, you and I, we talked about this on the DFS show. And then I went and I did some additional research on that when I also saw that Chuba Hubbard getting the start over Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like there is a lean there. Now, this matchup here for Carolina, I am not a huge fan of the Colts run defense. We've talked about that. I think there can be a little bit of a back and forth in this game, but I'm not going to rely on Chuba Hubbard just running the football. I couldn't do that. So I'm going to say Chuba Hubbard here over 64.5 rushing and receiving yards. I think he can combine for that alone. It's minus 120. He's going to get the starting nod as long as he doesn't crap the bed completely. I don't really see Miles Sanders having done anything to really distinguish himself. I'm not saying Sanders is going to be a bad call. I might look at some of his props too, but for the same token, though, I got to side with the guy who the coaching staff clearly prefers.
Yeah, I worry just about this situation on a whole, but he is the one getting the work. So it's the combined rushing receiving. So you don't need to rely on him running too much against Indy here, but also it's a good matchup for him in general. So not hating it, not hating on it. Let's get to our touchdown calls here, Howard, to close out the show. I'll start off. I'm going to do a first touchdown play here for Jonathan Taylor, getting that at plus 550. So we're not going to do the anytime touchdown. That's minus 160. Where's the fun with that? I already told you I don't got to bet for anything more than 5-1. So we're getting Jonathan Taylor first touchdown of the game at plus 550. I think the Colts get the ball. They drive down the field, and Taylor's the one that punches that one in here early. Is that my computer or is that your computer?
I don't know. Is that? I was worried that was my computer. As long as I know everybody's hearing it, I think we're okay. Jeez. Sean, is our producer still with us? Sean, type something in the chat. Blink twice. Let us know that you're still alive and that you're not in the middle of rebooting. He says that might have been his, but he is blinking. So There we go. Shout out to our producer, Sean Engel. Absolutely. All right. Well, my touchdown call here. I'm going with Aaron Jones. Rams don't have a good solid run defense. They give up some yardage to running back pass plays. If we are indeed taking the reins off of Aaron Jones and we're running with him, then plus 135 for an anytime touchdown. I know it's not as tasty a bet as you like, John. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I just want to make a little money.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, I like it. Anytime touchdown, big fan of it. Certainly can get it done. You are getting the plus odds at least. So, I got to hit my Jonathan Taylor first touchdown to make up for all the minus 160 reception props that I put out there. So, to make any money back, I got to hit the big one. So, no arguments here. I like Aaron Jones here. I think that role will continue to expand for him. Guys, if you want the rest of our NFL best bets or maybe our NBA best bets or our hockey best bets, you got to become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family. I think this might be the last day to Howard if I was given some correct information. Or we're approaching the end of days here for our lock promotion. Go to fantasyalarm.com/lock, promo code lock, or scan the QR code here on the screen. Become a member of the All Pro family for a year. It's our annual subscription package. If you go month to month, Howard, I think you're paying like $35, $40 a month for our All Pro package here. So why not lock it in for less than $16 a month for the rest of the year? If you're doing the math, that means that includes next year's fantasy football draft guide, your fantasy baseball draft guide if you partake, your NHL, your NBA draft guides are all going to be included because it's within the calendar year. You're getting the first 9 weeks of the football season, the beginning of NBA, the beginning of basketball, all of baseball. Not only that, we also have the 3-time Racing Writer of the Year in Matt Sells, if you like NASCAR. We have one of the best MMA DFS writers in Mike Ianno, a big MMA card this weekend. Guy has been winning GPPs left and right this season during the UFC calendar year here. So there's really no shortage of value with our All-Pro package. And like I said, you get access to all of our betting content here as well. Bender does our best bets for football. We have Servo with all of his college football stuff. Josh Wagner doing our NHL. Iggy Gilbert doing the NBA. Baseball, I think it's you and Servo doing baseball bets, Howard. So plenty of stuff that you guys can get for a ridiculous value of just $16 a month for the next year. So check it out, fantasyalarm.com/lock, promo code lock, or scan the QR code here on the screen now. Right, Howard?
There you go.
Can't say anything else.
I mean, I wish I could say something else. I was trying to think of something clever, like, you know what? And then come next year, you know what? Lock, we give the option, lock it in for life, right? Like forever. Like you just renew every year at that same price. It never, it never goes up on you, and it always stays this beautiful deal.
Yeah. So you gotta check it out. Stay with us here. Any final thoughts here, Howard, before we roll out of this one today?
No, I'll have my finalized best bets article over at fantasyalarm.com. Obviously, it'll include these. There may or may not be some other nice little treats there. So, yeah.
Get it? Go listen to Howard over at SiriusXM from 5 to 7 today. He and Andrew Cooper on the Fantasy Alarm Show. If you're looking for some NBA DFS content, though, stay right here on the Bettor Sports and Fantasy Alarm social networks. Myself, James Grande, coming at 5 o'clock Eastern, breaking down today's 7-game NBA DFS main slate. Have a good weekend, everybody. Find us in the Discord. Find us on Twitter. Catch you guys later.